Hey there, good morning and happy opening day to everybody out there in DFS land. It's your buddy Chopadong. I am a coach and contributor at DFSArmy.com. I have a coupon code CHOP, C-H-O-P, that triggers a 20% off discount off of our VIP package, which includes every sport, every site, every tool, every coach, everything that we do to make you a better player. If you're interested, click down into the description or the comments section, find the link, and come and check us out. You can even check us out for free for 30 days. But today, what I want to talk about is building lineups by hand. I've seen some questions lately, doing a lot of Q&A with the members in our DFS Army forums, and I'm finding, of course, optimizers are all the rage these days, but you have to, sort out your exposures, you have to sort out your player pool, you have to kind of put little weights and measures on some of your favorites and whatnot to get the optimizer tweaked out the way you want it. Well, hand building is kind of the same thing. It's just that hand building lineups, you're only doing maybe 3, 4, 5 lineups that way. I mean, upwards of maybe 10. And you've still got to have that mental player pool. You've still got to have those players in your head. You're just not using the computer to ravage through 100 lineups. You're doing it yourself. And you've got to keep an idea in your head of your player exposures and whatever else. So let me walk you through the process a little bit of what it takes to build some of these lineups. You're going to want to know your pitchers. You're going to want to know some basic stacks for baseball, and you're going to want to know generally which players you want to include. And the easiest way to do some of that is to use our research station at dfsarmy.com. I might start in the pitchers tab, and I've already been playing around, but I would sort this column here by descending order, this K-score in Chop Shop. K-score is simply the strikeout percentage of the pitcher added to the strikeout percentage of the opponent as a team, and we're going to get what teams typically tend to strike out and what pitchers tend to strike people out. What we're looking for is the best combination of a high strikeout pitcher and a high strikeout team. Stands to reason that a high strikeout pitcher and a high strikeout team are going to lead to a lot of strikeouts. Am I right? So I'm trying to find that. I put that on a sliding scale of about 500 being a good number to look for. It doesn't mean 496 and 479 are trash. It just is going to depend on the day. Some days you'll get a high score like a 585. Some days you'll be hard to find a 504. You're just looking for the best that day, but 50 is or 500 is generally pretty good. Okay? So here's what I'm looking for today. I've got about 6 pitchers to pick from. Doesn't mean all of these guys are unusable, especially on DraftKings. It just means that for FanDuel, with one pitcher, I'm liable to try and take the best pitcher I can find. I would want to use a combination of this K-score, Vegas odds, and maybe implied run total, ballpark, a general feel of how a pitcher's been pitching lately. These types of things will start to creep in there. I'm looking for these types of situations. And Verlander's obviously going to be a go-to guy. Marquez looks pretty good. Nola even looks pretty good. Woodruff, Stripling, Bieber, Flaherty, all good picks. You get to decide based on price point, maybe who you'd be after. If Stripling's really 6,600, that's pretty hard to come by. I mean, 6,600 for what amounts to a 508 K score. Pretty strong. So if the Dodgers, who beat up on the Giants last night, are looking at a $6,600 starting pitcher who's in line to get a win, and a strong line to get a win, and he's got a 500 something K score. And then I look at these other guys here that are more expensive, 87, 99, 11, 2. I mean, would I rather take the $5,000 and use it on bats? Now, the 585 out of our man Verlander here is not really comparable to the 508 out of Stripling, but the 520 is. A 508 and a 520 is not that big of a difference. So for $2,000 almost, or certainly $3,000 in Aaron Nola's case, I might want to save the money. I'm looking for the cheapest pitcher that makes the most sense, that's going to get me in the game. So Stripling would be one of my pitchers. Maybe a Nola, Marquez, Verlander will certainly be one of my pitchers. So I've got 2 or 3 pitchers already picked out that I'm Flaherty, whatever. These are all fine choices. I'm going to probably lean a little bit on Stripling, which sounds crazy, but to be honest with you, with the price point, it makes sense. There's value in that price. Now I'm going to head to my batting page here, and I'm going to start figuring out who I might want to look at. Who's hitting high? Well, there's the Dodgers again. Boston, couple of Bostons. There's a couple of, well, there's only one Houston, LA, whatever. It's quite a smattering. So this is where I would look to lean on our cheat sheets I would come up here to MLB, I would come over here to cheat sheets, and I would wait for our coaches to start putting in their ideas and their thoughts. Another thing that I could do is I could go to the Trends tab, and I could take a peek here at the Trends tab. Now this is only one day, and some of these teams haven't even played yet, but this will start populating after 7, 14, 30 days, and this is last season's number. I'm going to use last season's number as a baseline, 407 for Woba for JD Martinez. And I'm going to see in a few days here that his last 7 games, what his Woba is going to become. Let's say it's over 407. Well, he's running hot. I might want to use some JD Martinez in that case. If he's running way cold and it's something ridiculous like a 250, well, then I'd be off of JD Martinez, but I'd be waiting and watching for him to come back to his baseline number. That's how you would read a chart like this. You can use any sample size that you want, and it really helps. We've got it for ISO, we've got it for hard contact, if you like hard contact numbers. We've got it for BABIP. You can use all of these numbers together in conjunction with each other to start whittling down which players you might really want to key on that day. Because what's going to happen when you're hand building lineups is you're going to start building from your head and from your heart a little bit. You're going to look at these numbers and get a general idea of who you like. Let's say, here's another thing that I used to do that works out pretty well. I go back to the starting pitchers, and instead of the K-score being good, I look for the K-score that's bad, or actually the W score. That's the WOBA score. That is the pitcher's WOBA given up, or against him, versus the overall WOBA of the team that he's facing. So a high WOBA given up would be a bad pitcher, and a high WOBA team would be a team ready to do some damage. So again, this sliding scale starts putting the best situation forward. So if I'm looking for one of the worst W scores, I would sort that by ascending order. I'm sorry, descending again, because the red numbers are going to come up to the top. And that's what I'm looking for. I would be targeting Malone, Samardzija, Giolito, whatever, right? Down to say, Haney and Duffy. These would be pitchers that tend to give up high WOBAs against, and they're facing teams that have decent WOBAs for. So when I come down here and I look at Malone, Samardzija, Giolito, Gonzalez, Haney, Duffy, whatever, I'm looking at generally cheaper pitch. There's a fun one. People might take Giolito based on his price. So if I look at the team that he pitches for and then the opponent, I'd be targeting maybe Boston, Dodgers, shocker, right? Minnesota, Houston, Oakland, and I'd be looking for the hearts of those orders. So what I want to do is I want to open up another page here. That would be our starting lineups page. And we'll see if the projected lineups are in place already. If the projected lineups are in place for today, that's the 23rd, that's last night. So it's not up yet. When this comes up, we will have not only all of the batters in their projected orders, we'll have salaries, we'll have ex-WOBA, which takes the luck factor out of WOBA, we'll have their actual WOBA, and this will search for a differential. If the ex-WOBA is higher than the actual WOBA, the guy is due for positive regression. See, these are just comparing stats is what we do in DFS, certainly when we're trying to analyze baseball. You want to look at some kind of a number that you can count on, whether it be a large sample size or whether it be an actual statistic. And then you want to look at another statistic that can kind of remove, BABIP or X with something that can take the luck factor out of some of the hits because, ball being smashed at the shortstop but being caught, you'd say is a bit unlucky. Some of these statistics are starting to remove that luck factor from the situation. So if I'm looking at a big differential between ex-WOBA and WOBA, somebody is getting either really, really lucky or really, really unlucky. And it's a very, very simple way to go through and start picking out maybe which of these batters you want to target. The other thing that you would do back in the starting lineups or the batter matchups page is you'd use those trends tabs. Who's hitting hot? You might use personal matchups, BVP, something like that. You're starting to look at a few factors to get some form of an overall idea. How is the hitter hitting? What spot in the order is he hitting? What's his price point? Is his team set up to smash a pitcher? And can he be part of the action that's doing it? When you find those guys, it works. Now, you can also target just parts of the batting order, which is what that starting lineups page will do. Say you want to target just the 2 through 5 batters. Say you want to target the 1 through 6 batters. Whatever it is on your mind, you need to have open a starting lineups page of some kind. You need to have a basic feel for the stats of who's hot, who's not. Form a routine day after day after day, right? Then you're going to go into your lineups. You're going to start building these lineups. We might end up with something projected already on FanDuel today. So if I come into the little nickel and I try to build a lineup, I've already got an idea of my pitchers. I've already got an idea of my teams that I might want to stack. So let's say I started with a Verlander. I'm probably not going to get really expensive bats with him. So if I look down the list a little bit here at teams, so Boston, LA probably out, Minnesota, Houston probably out, Oakland. Oakland might be a really good situation. Cleveland might be a decent situation to stack. These are generally cheaper teams. Minnesota, whatever. So I can come back over here to FanDuel and I can target just those teams. So if I look for plays for, let's say Oakland, where's those Athletics, right? Now I can start looking at maybe who's projected 1, 2, 3, 4 in their order. I can throw Simeon in there at leadoff. I can throw Chapman in there, and I can throw Matt Olson in there for a 1, 2, 3 stack. Or I can take Simeon out, and I can go 2, 3, 4 with Chris Davis. Now I've got some decent stacks. I can put a 4 stack in there if I want to put, Kana in there or put Simeon back in there. Something like that's going to help me figure out where my starting point is for the day. Even with, I've got what, 2,700 left per player, so I probably got to start paying a little bit of attention. Simeon might come out, 3,500 for Simeon. It's a little bit crazy. But Lariano at 6. So what am I at? 2, 3, 4, 6. These stacks are correlated. They're not too gapped apart. They're going to sit here and they're going to get the hearts of the order, those that are liable to do the most damage. If I wanted to get a little bit more connected, I would take Lariano out and I'd put Kana in. And now I've got 2, 3, 4, 5. Right? Part of that order does the damage. I'm set to do pretty well. Now, those got me up to about 3,000 per salary, so now I can come back to most of these other teams and I can start shopping around. Second base is typically a value position. Probably won't be using a lot of these guys down here. But if I keep those teams in mind, Michael Chavis in Boston, right? I said I wanted to target the Boston offense. I might now go into Boston and see who's projected. Lead off, that would wrap around with the 8. 4, 2, somebody down in the 3,000 range. Benintendi at the 5, Vasquez at the 7. I don't need a catcher. I've got a first baseman. But do you see what I'm doing? I'm whittling down what I'm trying to do as I'm matching up, paying attention to my average salary per player to keep continuing to look for some value in the offenses that I've already pre-targeted as good offenses. Now, if I want to clear this out and I want to start with a new pitcher, instead of Verlander, let's say I come down here and I grab Stripling. 6,600, right? So I start here with Stripling. Now I've automatically got 3,500 left. Now I can probably stack Dodgers with him. I might be able to stack Boston with him. Who was the top? I think Boston was the top stack. Is that right? So if I come down here and look at Boston, I've got JD, Devers, Bogarts. Bang, bang, bang. Right? Throw those 3 guys in there. Little Benintendi for a 2, 3, 4, 5 stack again. Now if I wanted to, I could run back to Oakland. I could run down to, say, Cleveland and target Danny Duffy. I could look for some value in this offense. I've still got 3,600 to play with. So I can take a big Cleveland stack. I can get Santana in here. I can get Ramirez in here and Lindor in here. And now I've got a 2, 3, 4 in Cleveland. I've got a 2, 3, 4, 5 in Boston. A 2, 3, 4. Where did the 3 go? Lindor's not in there because of the shortstop. So, okay. So 5. 2, 3, 5 in Cleveland. Right? And now I just need a second baseman for 5,200. I think I can do some switching and swapping around at this point. I've got a lot of money to play with. I could upgrade my pitcher if I wanted to and take a value back. I can just do so much stuff. If I wanted to put a little Altuve in there, fine. Now I've got 1,400 left. In baseball, I can leave that on the table. Or I can come back down here, take out Reyes, find somebody else. I can take out Cleveland and find somebody else. There's just so much room to play in these types of situations. If I wanted to come down here to, say, Dodgers and see what I can't get in the Dodger stacks. Boston Dodgers would be a lot of fun. Throw me some Bellinger, some Muncy, some Seager. I'm at 3,200. And I've still got a second baseman that I need to find. Kiki had the big night last night. I could certainly use him again. I can go one-off somewhere else, somewhere with a McMahon, Odor in Texas. These are the types of situations, again, that you can play with ad nauseum. This is how you're hand building your lineups. You're using these different tools. You're getting set up with your pitchers, get an idea of who you like, get an idea of which stacks you like in terms of bats, get to a starting lineups page with either some statistics on it that can tell you which bats you might want to target, or at the very least, the order of the bats that you want to be in. And then start targeting some ideas in your head, take it out to a lineup, a website or I guess a DFS site, and then start start with your pitcher and then build accordingly. Maybe start with a stack and then build accordingly. But if you've got a cheap raw stripling in your hip pocket, you can go around and you can start off with a bunch of nasty lineups. If I wanted to, I could come all the way down here and I could be contrarian today. I could start stacking Rockies all over the place. I could say, give me some Arenado, some Blackman, some Story, some Dahl at leadoff, 4,100 per player. I can come down here. I can go back up into, say, the Athletics, and I can say, Simeon, Chapman, Olson, let's say Olson, Davis, Kana for a little bit of power, right? 6,100 per player. With second base seems to be the theme today of who we've got left out all the time. Marte and Hura in Milwaukee at Wrigley Field, whatever. These would be guys that I might want to target as one-offs. I'm not necessarily targeting the team as a stack. Now I got 8,900 left for my pitcher. I've got two great heart of the order stacks. I've got my pitcher left over. I come down here to 8,900. Paddock, Woodruff, Lance Lynn, Marquez. Marquez was on our list. He was a 500 guy, right? Starting pitching matchups. Come back over here to Chop Shop just to make sure that it works out. Sort by descending order. And once it decides to do that for me, Marquez, boom, pops up at the number 2 strikeout pitcher on the day. So I've got myself set up really, really well, and all I did was mix and match. And you're going to have to do this. You pay attention to where you were going as you were making this lineup. Understand in your head now, I've got a Rockies and I've got an Athletics stack, right? I don't want the Rockies in all 5 of my lineups. I want them in maybe, say, 2. So I would build another lineup with Rockies, and then I would go out off somewhere and might mix and match them. Instead of with the Rockies or with the Athletics, I might match them with the Indians again, or I might match them with the Dodgers or whatever. You can't, when you're hand building, you're just not going to be able to cover all the bases. That's why you have to have an idea in your head of what you're looking for, and then you go into your builds with that idea. You're always building from the bottom up. You can start with pitcher and then a stack and then start looking for value, or you can start with a stack and then surround it with another stack if you know you've got a cheap pitcher in your hip pocket, because that's building with value. And you can do a whole bunch of things in between. These are the things that we talk about inside DFS Army all the time. These are the questions that I want you to ask us when you come in and become a VIP, because we can guide you. We can show you through videos. We can show you through screenshots. We can show you through our tools how to find these players, how to put yourself in good situations. This is baseball. It's random. Crazy crap is going to happen. But if it happens on your night and you get good at targeting the types of batters that do the damage in the matchups that they're going to do the damage, and you get good at targeting pitchers with high innings pitched and high strikeout floors, you're going to do okay over time. This isn't a sprint. It is a 60-game season, which is still a marathon, even if it's not the full 162. You're going to have to put in the time. You're going to have to wait sometimes a week or 2 before you start seeing results. That's why we carry bankrolls. That's why we teach you how to manage those bankrolls. All part of what we do as a VIP inside DFS Army. Come and take a look at us. Come and check us out. This has been opening day. It's your buddy Choppadong out here on Twitterland. Come and talk to me out in Twitterland too. Love to interact. Love to talk with you guys. And we'll see where this takes us. As a matter of fact, let me show you one more thing before I let you go. You hear me talk about the ladder system, right? Well, last night, just wanted to say thanks for the $10 ladder today. Tried it out and it worked just perfectly. Blow it up, boom, $10 in, 33 out. Swept it across the board. Min cashed in the GPP, hit every triple up, every quintuple up, and smashed the double up. That's how the ladder works, guys. It's not designed to make, $10 turn into $10,000. That's what tournaments are for. It's designed to grind with some cash so that when you produce a lineup that is 1/13th out of 500 people or whatever, that it gets in that top quartile or top third, that it gets paid. It doesn't just double your money, it actually starts to work to triple your money and even beyond. That's the crux of what I will teach you to do. This is a steady way to build a lineup, to grind up a cash bankroll with the majority of your budget, while you're then taking the remaining couple of bucks that you've got and throwing it out in tournaments, hoping to turn that $10 into $10,000. Again, that's what we teach you to do, dfsarmy.com. Come and take a look at us. I'll talk to you later.